I wish I mean, life is all about having fun. I wish I actually got into, because I feel like I picked up on UFC when Conor, or like combat sports when Conor was at his peak. Yeah. But always I think UFC and then even boxing, like they do a great job with the documentaries like leading up, or what are they called? The
All Access.
The All Access, yeah. So like when Floyd was fighting and all those guys, Pacquiao, like the All Access was perfect, and it always gave you that, you know, the want to watch the fight. And then UFC carried into that, and they crush it. And so
hell yeah.
that's why I really got into UFC. And then I'd be like, damn, like I saw, you know, maybe one day, but I feel like I could. They different.
Well, hey, this is a perfect time to get into PowerSlap. I'll tell you that, man.
Let's do it.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
This shit's just a rocket ship right now, man.
Yeah. Welcome to Varsity House Podcast. I'm your host, Shaun Crawford, and on this episode today, we got the #1 ranked PowerSlap heavyweight, King of Kings, Ryan Phillips.
Hey, yo.
Appreciate you coming on, Ryan.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me on, brother. It's a pleasure.
Definitely. And so I mentioned before, obviously the #1 ranked PowerSlap heavyweight, coming into the PowerSlap 7, where you'll be slapping for the belt. Did you ever think that you would be, you know, in this position? Did you ever think you would be here at this point in your career?
You know, ask me that maybe like five or 6 years ago, I would say no. But as soon as I started getting into the sport and watching the sport and seeing it evolve into a sport, you know, when I started getting serious and actually training towards it, you know, it definitely it does now resonate that I've always wanted to be a champion at this, and now's the time. When I was a kid, I would never thought I would be in combat sports, period, even though I did enjoy them and I enjoyed things like the WWF. You know, it's just never something that I saw myself doing. You know, I wasn't very athletic. I was always good in physical education back in like grade school days. I played basketball. I was actually pretty decent at baseball. I played baseball, obviously for leagues outside of school. But yeah, I wasn't like the most athletic kid. I was always kind of like chubbier side, you know. I was more funnier, but I would skateboard. I would do bodyboarding and surfing because I lived on the beach in New Jersey. But I also was in Taekwondo. My dad and mom wanted me in Taekwondo because I would get into a lot of fights. I wasn't necessarily the bully. I was more of like the protector. So I'd always protect my friends and stick up for them, and that would eventually, you know, evolve into a fight. And there was a time where my mom actually had to be called in to be the permanent lunch aide because I was getting into so many scraps.
They hired her. They had to hire her.
They had to, yeah. They had no choice. So they were like, you know, he likes fighting so much. Why not, you know, put him in Taekwondo? And I know I was pretty decent at Taekwondo. I got to a blue belt under J.H. Kim, he's in the history books. That guy is nasty. He's like a 10th Dan black belt. So he used to hit us with the bamboo stick if we didn't do our knuckle push-ups right. So shout out to J.H. Kim. But no, never thought I would be here, man, until, like I said, recently.
Mm-hmm. And then now, may not have been the greatest athlete when you were younger, but you made a statement that you want to be the baddest man in the world. So talk about just, you know, being that, and then even, you know, outside of just PowerSlap, but like what it entails to be the baddest man in the world, you think? Yeah,
that's a great question. You know, like I said, I grew up on a lot of WWF. I grew up on a lot of, me and my dad used to watch UFC straight from the beginning back in '93. We watched UFC 1 on the cheater box, you know. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I should be saying that. Don't come for me, FBI. But, you know, like I said, I was always tough. I was always fighting. You know, in my later years as a teenager, you know, I'd be scrapping on the beach because it was locals only, you know what I mean? And, you know, I would always protect my friends, always help my friends out whenever they needed. And, you know, a lot of times I would be out and just random people would start stuff with me, you know, whether I'd be with like a cute girl or something. Or,
yeah, you know how they be, bro.
Yeah, you know, I'm outgoing too. You know, I'm not the most mellow guy, you know, so right. You know, I draw a lot of attention, so I, you know, sometimes a random beer bottle would get thrown at me or something, you know, something crazy like that. So I'm always scrapping for some reason or another. It's not by choice.
Said a random beer bottle might get thrown at you.
It happened to me, man. Wow. At Around the Corner, man. I'm not lying. Yeah, you know about Around the Corner. Yeah, I took one to the head, and you know, and that guy took one to the head too, and he didn't fare better than I did. I'll tell you that. I got kicked out quicker. So, Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I like around the corner. I pull up. I like.
Me too.
I like the wings there, so it ain't nothing against y'all. But it's just. We're not bashing around the corner. We love Lakewood.
Yeah. Shout out to Ryan. I know Ryan, the owner's son. I know them, so they're cool with it. They know what I'm about.
Wings are fire. But like, there's no blueprint for the sport that you're in, PowerSlap. So you even get to that point to where it's just like it comes about. And we talk about, I feel like being a kid or just like growing up, like you always look for inspiration. You always look for people who, came before you in the sport or just anything. And so when you had the opportunity to, go after PowerSlap and go after that career, how did you like know where to go? How did you know what was the first step to even becoming a PowerSlapper?
Yeah, I mean, there really is no steps, honestly. Well, at this point, but I saw it as more or less there was only one show in town. PowerSlap wasn't even there yet. I saw, Slap Fight Championships, one of the other organizations, was big on YouTube, and COVID hit. We all, we didn't really do much. A lot of friends didn't want to, hang out. We were all just taking it back, kicking it easy. And I was watching a lot of YouTube, and I was watching a lot of Slap Fight. And, from there, I was like, man, not only that, but let's just say back in 2008, I was swinging at McCarthy's pub. Me and the boys would get a little tipsy, drinking those dollar pints. And, hey, push comes to shove, we're taking whacks at each other. And then all of a sudden, people are lining up and we're all doing it. Like there was like 3 rows of people trying to knock each other out at McCarthy's pub in Avon Lake. So,
yeah, we're not going to get let in any of these pubs around the town.
Not even around anymore. So we're all right. Yeah. But, I mean, we would literally take rounds and then it would spill into our friend's house. Katie Whiteman, actually, shout out to her. And, we would just be, trying to knock each other out or it was just drunken madness, man. I don't know what it was. But like I said, I took 16 rounds from different people in one night, one time. So when this came about, I was like, man, I can do this, man. I used to do this for just being a drunken idiot. So I knew, and I know I'm tough too. I trained a lot, boxing. Here we are at Strong Style, the beautiful Strong Style, man. Holy crap. Cleveland, Ohio, baby, raise up. But, I was taking hits. I'd be able to dish them out too. So, I mean, what better way to do it than having a guy with his hands behind my back about to get knocked out by the power, you know what I mean? Did
you tell anyone that you were going to go on this journey?
Yeah, I told pretty much everyone I knew.
Did anyone try to talk you out of it?
No, actually not. They said, well, they know me, they've seen me in action. They've seen me, scrap in the streets, and I got a hard head. I don't get knocked out. No one's ever knocked me out. 3 kids at a high school dance punched me in the face over 20 times barefisted. They didn't do nothing to me. I got hit by a car 30 miles per hour, did nothing to me. I mean, I'm just
tank.
I'm just a different kind of man. I feel like, and this is just right up my alley, man. Championship fights coming up, coming home with the belt. What else can I say?
The energy that you speak with, I just feel like it comes directly from where we are today, which is Cleveland, Ohio, both of our hometowns. Talk about just growing up in Cleveland, growing up in, specifically Lorain. How did that impact you? And just from what I understand or what I know, like Lorain is a tough city. But talk about how much Cleveland has impacted, your mentality.
Yeah, so New Jersey, I grew up in New Jersey, right? And I always say this. New Jersey taught me how to fight with my fists. Ohio taught me how to use guns and be a killer. This place is not for the weak, I'll tell you that. The streets are rough where I live. The streets are rough, honestly, all the way up and down this area, I've been targeted, just because of who I am. People see me, they'll target me, and I've had to scrap for, like I said, just no reason at all, just randomly. Sometimes in the street, Walmart, walking back to my car, someone wants my chain, that happened. And,
you might have to tuck that chain though.
it's too vibrant, man. Yeah. But yeah, I had 2 kids approach me for my chain, and, it's not for the weak. I've got jumped at the Midway Mall, for $20. It's mean out there, and this is reality though, this is reality we live in. And I'm not saying that it's all the time, but you got people here that, don't make the greatest of wage. And they want what you have, and they're going to take what you have regardless of anything. So someone broke into my house once and robbed me of, my Xbox, PlayStations, all that stuff, and, New Jersey it wasn't tough. Everyone was really privileged, but, there was a lot of scrapping because there was no guns there, but, people fought still, and, now I'm just a killer, bro. This place made me a killer. Anyone who comes up to me and messes with me, they got a bad day coming because I'm prepared for that. I have no choice. Like I said, a random beer bottle just came flying at my head one time, I got to protect myself. Part of the reason why I came to Strong Style,
Or you are saying that, the experiences that you had shaped who you are, whether they were tough or not, they put you in this position you are in today. Are you somewhat thankful for what you went through when you were younger, or just before?
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't be in this position now, and for a lot of people, this is big time. And everything that I've experienced, I'm thankful for, whether it be good or bad. I've been the lowest of the lows. I've been the highest of the highs. But if I didn't have those lowest of lows, I probably wouldn't have gotten to the highest of highs. So I am definitely grateful for my life, grateful for everything and everyone that I've met too. I always remember a face and always remember the time we've had regardless. It's just shaped who I am, and I'm just a real hardened individual. That's why slap fighting and being a power slap striker is just perfect for me.
Mm-hmm. What would you say to that person who is chasing something outside of the norm? Maybe had a tough upbringing or different upbringing. What would you say to that person?
Cliche to say, but never give up. Obviously, you don't want to give up, because tomorrow's another day. You never know what that's going to bring. It could be a day, it could be a week, could be a month, could be a year. Something's going to happen. You got to make it happen though. Sometimes sitting around and just waiting for it, time just goes by. But if you get off your ass and start working and set a goal and work towards it, you can definitely achieve it. You just never give up. You just don't want to give in. Sometimes you get those thoughts in your head that, I can't do this, or this is impossible, or you see other people, failing around you too. That's another thing, you see other people failing, that might instill that in your own daily. So, surround yourself with good people, surround yourself, and be positive, try to uplift those people who are falling behind too. Pick yourself up too. It's all about you. There's no one else in this life that's going to live it other than you. So, make sure that, you take care of yourself and just work, man, work.
Mm-hmm. I want to say I was at the Power 6 slap event, and being able to be there, amongst the Tom Brady's, the Charles Barkley, which was a Super Bowl weekend, but also, Travis Scott and those different people. Yeah. I could assume that was probably just one of the highest of the highest moments. But in that moment right there, talk about, did you have a chance to reflect at all on any past moments, or even that lowest of low moment, and then being, standing on that stage and getting your hand raised? Like, were you able to reflect back to those tough times or to those moments right there?
Yeah, before I go on the stage, I actually reflect on a lot of the bad that I've had, because that sets a fire in me. And also I think a lot about my parents who have passed away. I want to make sure that they're proud of me and they're watching over me and I'm doing good and, making the name live on. And that's basically what I set out to do was, I'm a lot of people are doing this for clout. A lot of people are doing this for money. I'm doing this more so for legacy. I want to be remembered. I don't want to be sitting at, or watching over myself and seeing no one at my funeral. That's like a nightmare to me. So, I definitely wanted to, when you were there, that was cool. When you were there, I was definitely, when I hit that stage, I don't really know what's going on. You're screaming OH at me. I couldn't hear, but really, I blame the earplugs. But really, I'm in such a mode that my focus is to kill or be killed. It's fight or flight, and I can trigger that within minutes. Usually I found a way now, since I'm becoming more experienced, that I usually just sit in my room before a fight and I just manifest, think about it, think about everything. Now I can just go up there within minutes and I'm triggered immediately. I've learned how to do that. And what you see on the stage is the king. It's not Ryan Phillips anymore. It's the king. I'm there to kill or be killed. But reflecting on the moment, as you say, I didn't even know Tom Brady was there. I didn't even know Charles Barkley was there. I didn't know anyone. You know, I did see like a couple of people I recognized in the crowd, but for me also, when I'm on the stage, I'm blind. I don't have any contacts in. I don't have any glasses on, so I don't see really that much of anything. So at one point, you know, I'm screaming at Deontay Wilder like, "Yeah, mother effer," you know, going crazy, and I don't even know I am. And they're like, "Yeah, do you know who that was?" And it's surreal. It's just surreal. I don't really get starstruck too often, and I did get starstruck a little bit with Dana, but you know, it's crazy that I'm in this position right now. Absolutely.
I definitely want to talk about the ring walk. And you talked about mentioning you sit in the room and you just reflect and you think, what's that? Or what is your walkout song?
I don't have one right now. I because they don't let us use heavy metal, and I'm a metal guy.
Yeah.
So last time they're like, "Hey, you can't use this song," and I was just like, in my head, I'm like, "What can I use?" And I'm like, "All right, Sandstorm by Darude." You know what I mean? But I actually talked with the president of PowerSlap, and he made a good point. He's like, "You know who else used that song?" And he's like, "You're kind of like him, another killer, Vanderlei Silva, back in the Pride days." And I was like, that's kind of hard.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I'm going to stick with that or not. It's in my head, but right now, nothing concrete.
Because I also saw that you were a coach as well. Yes. So how does that usually work out? So do you coach the same night as you fight, or is it just a different? Or if you're not on the card that night, do you coach as well?
Well, actually, it was unfortunate that the only thing I could do at the time was coach, because I had a serious injury where I blew my bicep out. And I couldn't fight. So I couldn't fight or I couldn't catch.
But I thought you fought, I saw that you fought opposite hand.
That was that was on the show, Road to the Title 1. Yeah. And that was my last fight. Because 2 days before that is when I actually had the injury.
Right.
And I was like, there's no other, I'm not fighting. You know, I'm not going out like that. This is a serious event. Not only that, you guys don't know, but we were the main event of the whole show. Even though it wasn't on the episode like that, that's how it was in real life. So I was like, I'm not gonna not perform on the main event of the biggest event like ever here right now. So I was like, I'm going in with my left. Screw it. But it didn't work out well. And I actually went. That's when I went to the doctors, got the surgery done. Then I had doctors say I can't compete at all.
Right.
So I couldn't compete with the left. So I was out. Basically. Yeah. So coaching, they were like, you know what? Hey, why don't you come to the events, coach, whatnot? And hey, it turned out to be a great thing. And then they had me PowerSlap 1, 2, 3, skip 4, and then I would start competing again, 5, 6, now 7.
Wow, that's interesting.
So I've been on almost every event except for 4.
Okay.
This game, the slap fight, in my opinion, there's 2 parts, obviously, striking and defending, right? I know me, I could take a hit. You got to hit me with like a steel beam or something at 100 miles per hour and knock me out. If I see it coming, you're not knocking me out. So for that fight, I'm like, you know what? He may have, and the guy I was fighting, Iron Giant Dwayne Crespo, knocked out his opponent to get to that fight with me. So he knocked him out in 1 hit. And I'm like, man, this guy, he's got knockout power. I got no arms right now. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to show off anyway. I don't know what it is about me, man. You can throw the worst at me, and I just want to compete, and I just want to complete it at the 100%. And I just want to show off, and I just want to, everyone who doubts me, I want to prove them wrong. That's just the fire in me. It lights a fire in me. And I had a fire in me for some reason. I was like, man, I'm not fighting. I'm going to go in there anyway. I don't care, and I could beat this guy. And I just, in my own head, I'm just testing myself. And I'm like, you could do it, and I just tell myself over and over again. And then comes to the point where the fight happens, and then I just like unleash, man. And it's just a different mentality, a mode. I don't know what it is. Adrenaline, man. Adrenaline is a hell of a drug, Sometimes it's just like sometimes it's just not you. It's just it's crazy. So I actually always get into that mode before a fight, and I'm just a monster, man. I don't know if it's just who I am, what I've been through, or what I'm thinking at the time, or what. But I can't feel nothing. I'm extra powerful. I don't know. I love it, man. It's just a crazy power that's within me, and I think we all have it, but we all have to find it. And I think I found it.
Do you think the time in between the fights Like, is that, you think that's why you have just so much adrenaline just like pent up that you just are just ready to unleash it?
I think that was the good what you said, pent up. I think I have a lot of pent up anger. You said, I think you said, have you been able to take it all in? Not really. I haven't been. I'm still back when my mom passed away, to be honest with you, because so much stuff happened right there in those couple of months, and I feel like this is the release I need. I've went through a lot of pain. I went through a lot of suffering. There's a lot of things that happened during certain time periods of my life that were extremely hard to get through, and I wanted to give up, but it was like I said, there's something in my head where it's like, you can't give up. You have to keep going. You got to push through. And what you could say, like the dog, there's a dog in me. You know what I'm saying? And it just comes out sometimes, and yeah, it's been coming out a lot more lately, and the world's been seeing it. Millions of people. I don't like letting people see that kind of side of me. That that the king, I guess you could say. I call it the killer because ain't nothing stopping me when I get in that mode. But when the king's up there, man, I don't like letting people see that. But now everyone sees it. So
yeah, you got to let the world see it now. Yeah. How do you balance that out? Because when you're not in the ring and when you're not slapping, you have a day job, sales administration at Nordson Corporation out in Westlake, Ohio.
Yes, sir.
Shout out to Westlake,
Shout
Ohio.
out.
But so how do you balance that energy, that anger, that adrenaline, while you're in between fights, working your day job?
That's a good question too. I think I take it out on my day job, actually, because I'm really good. My boss said, you're one of our top professionals, and you have big nuts. That's what he emailed me, and I always try to if I'm doing anything and I have something to do or an objective to complete, I want to complete it at the best of my ability, and I want to do it better than everyone else. With slap fighting, I want to embarrass my opponents, man. Like, I think my last two opponents, they got the worst of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know what it's just like. I like to go at it, and I like to do 100% because it affects everyone around you, and everyone can see that, and maybe it'll make someone do the same and go 100% in their lives and change their own lives. But it's just a fire in me, man. Like I said, it just burns and burns and burns, and it won't go away,
And then even starting it this late, I guess, because you started when you were in 2020. Were you 37 at that time?
Yeah, something like that.
But starting it even late then, you not once have you mentioned for the money or, for the clout or anything like that. So having to do this, and you got a promotion at the time you started, right? Yeah. So it clearly wasn't about the money because you were probably good there.
Yeah.
Did you see this as an opportunity, as a second chance, as, maybe being the kid who had to protect your friends and that kid, and then now you get your opportunity to be the one?
Yeah, definitely.
To be the king?
Yeah, definitely. Jesus, it's so surreal, man. Even it's crazy just to even say people call me the king. Someone said I'm the baddest man on the planet the other day. It's just crazy to have that stuff happen, but right now I feel like it's my destiny. I don't know. There was a shift in the world. When COVID happened, there was just this terrible shift. And it wasn't just me; it was everything around me too. And you have to be kind of keen-eyed to see all the things that are making a shift. And it's I think more or less it was you have one life to live, man. Let's just live it. Let's just go nuts. My buddy over there, Mike, he's the same way. Let's go to Boston. Let's go take a trip somewhere. Let's see something. A lot of people are just becoming stagnant. A lot of people just sit on the couch, on the computers now, in their phones, just head first and not doing anything, and that's just not me, man. I like to do stuff. So I completely forgot the question, but
no, you were. I actually want to ask you, where would you rank, and not in terms of physicality, because I feel like in other combat sports you could get punched. In this one you get slapped, but also in MMA you can get kicked and all those things. So not in terms of physicality, but in terms of entertainment, where would you rank it? Amongst combat sports. Honestly,
I would rank it. I don't know. I don't like this question, honestly. But no, I mean, it's got to be right up there with the UFC, man. It's hard to say this, but we've been killing it, man. As if you look at our numbers and the videos that we post, we're in the millions, man. Every video they posted about me in the last month and a half, 24 hours, it's at 1 million views. And I just saw an article talking about the same thing happened to, like, I think Kanye West or something like that. And I'm sitting here like, 4 of my videos just did that. It's crazy to think about.
Yeah,
but
you're basically easy.
No, I'm 4 times easy. Jesus, bro. Shout out Kanye. Sorry, brother. I love your music. But you know, I would say I'd rank it up there with UFC. I'd rank it up there with the WWE. You know, I think this is more sport entertainment rather than like a full. It is a sport. I don't want to say it's not, but I think it's more leaning towards the entertainment side, because that's what we're looking for. Is we're looking for that it factor. We're looking for that pizzazz. You know, you don't go up there and you see 2 guys slap each other. One guy gets knocked out. That happens over and over again. You know, you're not going to really remember who you know, unless you stand out. Like me, I stand out. You know, I'm pointing the guns. Getting yelled at, canceled on the internet for that. You know, I'm doing the fake handshakes. You know, I'm trying to make it fun. You know, because 2 guys going up there slapping each other is only so much, but. Yeah, we're doing something different. I think I'm pushing the league forward in a better direction. And I'm sorry, guys, because I was injured for the time. It would came sooner.
How important, you talk about the stuff that you were doing in between the slaps, in between the fights. How important are those, not only to push the sport forward, but also the mind games from your opponent? Yeah,
good question. It's definitely very important, I think. There's definitely 2 sides to it. You know, it's the entertainment, but also it's getting in your opponent's head, like you said. You know, that definitely kills their ego, and you can kind of see it. That's why I love this sport, man, because it's like I don't even think about that, but when I do, it's like it gives me a smile, because then I go back and I see the match and I see the guy and how he reacts to, you know, if I do the handshake and I, you know, slick it back, you know, seeing the one eye wolf start laughing. He's trying not to laugh, but he had to because he didn't see it coming. And it's just, and yeah, you're right. It gets in their head, and man, that's the best part. To me, that's one of the best parts of the sport. I
feel like for my ranking, I feel like it's definitely one of the sports, and which I like. Why I like it so much, I like the quick action. Whereas, and that's why I like MMA, because like it could happen at any second. Boxing is sometimes a little bit slower depending on the fighters and the matchup and things like that. But I just feel like every single slap is like you're like, you know it's coming. Whereas like in every other sport, you don't know when that punch is coming. So it could be that one. And like even when I was at the event, like you couldn't leave. Like you could leave in between the fights, you know, in between actual matches. But you couldn't leave because it could have been that next slap to knock someone out, to get the victory. So in that aspect of it, that's why I really like it. And it's not, I don't feel like the refs are too involved, like whereas the judges, whereas like boxing or MMA, like so I feel like some MMA fights have been, you know, the judges have kind of screwed people, but. And this, like, I feel like I can visually see who's getting slapped harder. Like, that's something that you just maybe see, like, walking down the street and be like, oh, like, that person just got the slapped out of them. So I love seeing it in that aspect of it. But, like, so talk about it, how, when you not only being in it, but just, like, even watching it as a fan, just the quick entertainment aspect, but also how quick you have to be ready to respond to the next slap.
Yeah, you know, you have a recovery period when you get hit. So, but the thing is you're talking about the judges now. That's the thing, is that when you do get hit, you want to show the judges that it doesn't affect you at all. So you don't want to move. Recovery period, you want that on the 0.1 second. You know what I mean? If you get hit and you just stand there and you smile and, you know, you do what I do, put some flair on it, you know, to the judges, that's a 10-10. That's a 10 round right there, you know?
Yeah.
You know,
wait, so let's definitely get into the rules. Now that we're on the rules. So I didn't even know that was a rule, that you could get more points if you react less or you get back quicker.
Yeah. You don't want to react to the slap, because that's showing to the judges that, you know, well, depending, you know, if let's say hypothetically it's me and the bell, you know, I slap the bell. He eats it. He barely moves, you know, but, you know, you can see like he doesn't like smile back or anything. He's just like, oh, you know, and he's affected by it. Slap me, boom, I take it, I smile back, go ha ha, walk back. Who won that round?
You probably.
Exactly. So yeah, like you said, there is a clear decider on who wins, and it's all about how you react to the slap. So that recovery period is you got to be boom.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. All right. So I also want to find out, because just like slapping somebody on the street, it really don't matter. Like you step into it, you got, if you got to jump and slap someone, you do it. But like obviously in this sport, the feet are huge.
Yes.
And also the palm is huge. So there's two things and like two fouls that you would call them. Where does that slap not necessarily count then, or is it just deducted, or like points are deducted?
Well, it all depends, right? So so you said with the palm. Now the palm, you know, can only go so far. It can only go up to here.
Right.
If it goes anywhere further, that's a foul. So it can only go here.
Clubbing foul, not a clean strike, just a little high.
Foul. I'll tell you what, it was impressive.
That's a foul right there. If you it's called clubbing. If you do clubbing, it's a penalty. It's 1 point deducted right then and there in that round, and you lose your turn. So if you club, you only get 2 of those within a match. If you get 2 of them now, that's a disqualification. That's actually what happened to me with the Darius the Destroyer fight. Is he karate chopped me in the neck, was way off, and got himself disqualified. There's a lot of rules. There's a lot of things. You know, you gotta keep your feet still. You can't really pivot. You can't, you know, step into it. Then it turns into a hook. You know what I mean? This is a slap. You want to keep it a slap. So the rules are intended to keep it that way. But now, you know, the rules keep evolving. However, you know, it's still fresh, still brand new. There's at least one rule change per event, right? They're trying to figure out how to make it safe, trying to keep it exciting as well, because you don't want, you know, the flow that you said there was a flow. It's like one after another, and they want to keep that flow. So they're trying to, you know, shift the rules around to where they keep the flow, but it's still fair. So, you know, because it used to be you have to get 3 clubs and then it would be a DQ. We changed that now to 2 for regular, 3 for a championship fight.
Okay.
So you can see it's, you know, changing. So, it's definitely different than actual fighting itself. It's more, in my opinion, more mental, because I took my shoes off with Darius the Destroyer, and that threw my entire game off. The only thing I could think about was my feet. I didn't want to foul with my feet, and having those shoes on, that was like a 95% chance, because I was slipping and sliding. My feet were sweating, and you know, when I got up there, I was like, uh-oh.
You need those Sky Zone socks.
Yeah, right. Something like that. It was just, Darius the Destroyer, he goes up there with his bare feet all the time, so I didn't want to have an advantage. So I took my shoes off and kind of, you know, like I said, I like to show off.
Right,
you know?
right.
So, but no, it was, it took all my power away, took all my technique away. And it's just crazy that something you wouldn't think would mess up an entire fight, but it did.
Are there more rounds in a championship fight than a normal fight?
Yes, there's 5 rounds. Ooh. So 3 rounds normal, 5-round championship.
Now, is there a way to, because I'm sure for boxing and MMA and other sports like that, like where there's a longer match, there's ways to, you know, train your body, like do more endurance training and things like that. For a slap fight, 3 to 5 rounds, like is there a way to train maybe your face or, you know, your jaw or whatever it may be to last in a longer fight?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, you could put headgear on, have someone with some gloves on, you know, hit you in the head, you know, get you kind of rattled a little bit, and, you know, you experience it. You could take like the pad, you know, hit with the pad, or there's a paddle thing they use that we slap. I take in, I just give myself a few whacks on the face. It's nice and padded so it doesn't do any damage. It's just a sting, you know, getting rid of the sting.
Yeah. Would you say training is similar? Because it's very different, because I feel like, and I'm not a boxer, I'm not a combat, I'm not in combat sports. You don't train.
Yeah, but you're in the NFL, brother.
But you don't. but even in that, we train, like we get hit in practice.
Right.
You know what I mean? Whereas like But you can avoid those hits. Like, you're not out there. Like, I'm not just like like standing still and letting someone just like run into me.
Right.
In practice, and I feel like that might be the only way that you can prepare is getting hit in the face.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, if I'm training for a boxing match, I'm not gonna have a day where I'm just, you know, taking punches to the face to, you know, to get accustomed to it, right?
Right.
We're working on defense. We're trying to avoid it.
Right.
And this, you're defenseless.
Right.
So how, like, why? Like, why?
Why? You know, like I said, man, and this is the answer you're going to get from me and the answer that you're going to get from probably everyone, right? You either have it or you don't. The trials and tribulations that I've been through in life, the pain that I felt, the mental pain is far worse than any physical pain. So I know within myself that there's nothing that can stop me. And when I put my mind to it, you know, I'm achieving. You know, I'm going 100%. You know, I got the steam engines rolling, man. There's enough coal to burn the world down at this point. You know, I'm just moving forward. You know, nothing can stop me. And that's just the mentality I have, man. It's just, you know, and like I said, I've been through it before. I know I can take a hit. I've been punched in the face. I've been hit by pool cues. I've been hit by baseball bats. I've been hit by a car, multiple cars. You know, I know I can take a hit.
Don't cross the street with this guy.
Well, some crazy people out there, man. I'll tell you what, but that's a story for another day. But yeah, I mean, I know I can take a hit, and I know that it's in my head. It's just a slap. So if you're gonna slap me, okay, what's that gonna do? Now I'm in front of Dana White, Fertitta brothers, your boys. I'm standing in front of Tom Brady. I'm standing in front of Charles Barkley. I'm standing in front of Travis Scott. I'm standing in front of, you know, influencers, hanging out with Sarah Safari. You know, Bradley Martin's there. You know, all because I can take a hit. You know, that's it. Like, I'm gonna do it. I don't care what anyone says, man. I would never in a million years thought I would be sitting next to someone like you, man. You're a Notre Dame captain of a football team. Like, you're a pure athlete. You've put yourself through the trenches, man, to get to where you were at. You know what I mean? Me, I'm just a guy who likes to play Halo, you know, or, you know, I'm a guy that, you know, I like to fight people in the street. I'm kind of a, you know, I'm just a dog, you know, but I have this opportunity now. I'm going to take it, man, all day.
Definitely. Now that you're in camp and we got the championship fight coming up April 12th in Vegas at the Apex, what's the difference between your out of camp schedule and then your in camp schedule?
It's just how many steaks I eat in a day, man. Steaks and weights. You know, I trained really hard. You know, to get when I was in the road to the title, I trained really hard. I had an awesome goal. You know, I was about to go back into the house with a one-eyed wolf who just beat me, and I trained super, super, super hard. You know, for that. But then I got injured, and you know, I was training through injury and doing all the PT shout out to United Health and Dr. Kelsey and Miss Evans, Stephanie Evans, who is awesome. But you know, it's like I can train all day and I can, you know, lift as much weights as possible, but it's not going to teach you how to take that hit. The taking the hit is such a big deal. Like you said, you can't train for that. And it's like, I just know that, like, there's nothing that I can get hit with from any human being that's gonna do anything to me, man. You watch my matches. The only time I've ever been moved was when I took a straight punch to the throat. You know, it would hit me right in the abs apple. The whole one-eye wolf match, I was blacked out. I don't know any of it. I woke up an hour later, but I never didn't move, didn't get knocked out. I still stood there tall. I took it. I gave it back harder and harder. And that's just me, man. And I think that's something that no one else has. I'm sure there's people in UFC that have it, you know, but, you know, I this opportunity, this sport is literally made for me. Mm-hmm. That's all I can say. Like, I'm going to be a champion. There's nothing stopping me from that. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to be a champion till I retire. Mm-hmm. And I think I'm going to be a multiple champion. So, yeah.
It starts like that. So, but like hearing your story, hearing your journey into seeing where it is now, the sport, but also where you are in the sport, I mean, I felt like I told my friends when I was watching it, I was like, I got to reach out to him. I got to. And it wasn't even out, like when you walked out and they announced Cleveland, Ohio, and I was like, oh, I was like, he's winning. This is the dude. It's different. Like it's different people, from Cleveland. And I feel like when you got up there and because it wasn't so normal to hear like Cleveland and you be in that match, you had to be great. Like it wasn't, oh, he's just an average guy, some average Joe who ended up making it this far. Like Stipe, for example, I just feel like people who get to that level are different type of breed. Yeah. And so I was like, as soon as they said Cleveland, Ohio, I was like, all right, I'm rocking with them. I was screaming. You couldn't hear me with the earplugs, but I was screaming like, oh wait.
Yeah, say where you're from. Tell me where you're from.
Oh wait, yeah. So it was. I mean that experience, man, and then watching you and then being able to obviously get this interview. Like I DM'd you and I was telling my homie Ian actually over there, and I was like, dude. I was like, we got to get this interview with him. We got to get it done. And I'm finally glad that we got it done. But now, seeing where you are, and you kind of just, answered it. But I named this podcast Varsity House just because I wanted to be a safe space for athletes, for public figures to be able to tell their story and own their story. Yeah. Especially just with my injuries and the way my career shaped out for football. I was like, I never had an opportunity to get on a platform and share my story and tell people, what it's like to go through tough times, what it's like to bounce back from those tough times, and then also just to adapt while you're in those in-between stages. And so I want you, before we hop off, to, tell the people, how do you want your story to be told, when it's all said and done?
Yeah, I want to, I want my story to be told as, someone who fought, period. Someone who fought. I fought through my life. I fought in PowerSlap. I fought on the streets. I fought for others. I fought for myself. And that's what I want to be known as, a fighter and a champion.
Definitely. So I got 5 questions at the end.
Let's go.
I got 5 fun questions at the end. Dream slap fight.
Wolverine.
That'll be interesting.
That's the one. That's the one.
He has metal hands.
Come get it. Come get it. That's all I say. Look, this is the guy I watched during COVID, wiping everyone out, getting championship belts, becoming a legend. He is the GOAT. There's no question. That's the fight I want. I said, once I win this belt, I'll defend it once or twice. I'm fighting Wolverine after that.
That's a good name too for the sport.
Yeah. He's a beast.
Yeah, that's a great name for it. How'd you come up with, this isn't one of the questions, but how'd you come up with the King of Kings?
Yeah, it's hilarious. It has nothing to do with Triple H. It has nothing to do with Jesus Christ. When I would play Halo, I would call myself the King of Kill, and I would just go in. I would just be on the mic going into character, just slaying people in Halo 3, bro. That was my game. But I toned it down PG purposes, and I called myself the King of Kings. And then I'm like, oh my God, it's Triple H, and then people are like, you're not Jesus Christ, and I'm like, well, no shit. I'm like, I'm not God. So yeah, I like it though, man. I mean. What better way to live a day than to be called a king?
Yeah, we got King James and we got King Phillips.
It's crazy.
Second question is Mike Tyson or Jake Paul?
Oh, dude, that's a tough question. I mean, I've seen Mike Tyson training, and there's nobody like Mike, man. And if this is a real fight and this is a real match and they're really going for it, I think Mike's got it, man. No offense to Jake Paul. I love Jake Paul. I know Jake Paul's aunt will be watching this. I'm sorry. But it's Mike Tyson. Iron Mike, bro.
Yeah, I don't think people...
I don't know.
I don't think people can get mad at you for that one.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, it's like... But then again, Jake Paul is a stud right now.
Right.
Knocking people out left and right. Looks good. You know, he looks like a natural... Like, that's his, like, weight and size. He just looks naturally... He's a naturally gifted athlete. Crazy, right? Mm-hmm. But I don't know, man. When you get hit by Mike, it's different, right? I don't know. He's in trouble.
I mean, walking into the ring, I feel like that has to be a moment in itself. Yeah. Because wherever you come from, like you don't imagine that you'll be walking into the ring with Mike Tyson. That's not just someone that, you know, that one day, I'm gonna fight Mike Tyson. because one, I mean, just because of his age, but also because it's Mike Tyson.
Right. So then you can say Jake Paul already won, dude, because like he got Mike Tyson to come back to fight. Like that's the whole world wants to see.
Yeah,
that.
yeah. In that situation, I would say that you are the Mike Tyson in the situation when you get in the ring, right? Mm-hmm. But talk about just that mind game. Also, when you walk out to the ring, and knowing that what you've done in your career, the past fights, what you've accomplished so far, never been KO'd, has over that opponent.
Yeah, I think I think they're going, holy shit, like, who is this? Because it's not, like I said, it's not me. Everyone knows me. I'm a really nice, I try to be a pleasant person. But like when it's go time, it's just, I change, like everything changes. Like my one friend, he runs Planet Hank. Hank, he always tells me, he's like, when you go up there, you transform. It doesn't even look like you. Like your whole body and everything like transforms. And I don't know. I guess that's what happens. I just that it's a weird just tunnel vision focus, and I just turn into a monster. So I think when they're staring across from me, they're all jovial, and they go up there and they're like, oh, it's just Ryan. But then all of a sudden it's like, no, it's not Ryan. Mm-hmm. Like, then they hit me and I'm standing there smiling at them because, think about it. You go up there, you're like, hey, this guy's defenseless. I'm about to hit him 100% with my hand. You're like, oh, this guy's done for, anyone. But then you do it, and then the guy's just standing there like one-eye wolf my first time, and he's just standing there. That's like, holy wow. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, I'm in for it now. Like, this is gonna be, because that just pisses you off when you get hit.
Right.
Now you're gonna get hit by someone who's pissed off. So you're like, God damn,
Yeah.
But as you get more experience, with me now, it's just it's knockout season. I'm not even messing around. I'm just gonna knock everyone out.
Yeah, and then we off camera before this, we were talking about you won the toss for April 12th, and obviously in a fight you could go up there and be second. How do you go into this fight different now, knowing that you have the first opportunity to slap him?
No, not necessarily, because you never know what's going to happen.
Right.
Like I said, with the one-eyed wolf fight, I thought I was going to KO him and won. Mm-hmm. And then I hit him, and he was just smiling at me in just a brick wall. So, the bell has a big head. His noggin, I mean, you look at it, it looks like I don't know, what is that thing? Like, not a cantaloupe, but like a spaghetti squash. That's why it's like a spaghetti squash. It's real small on the top, but it winds out. Yeah. On the bottom, so
it's like Mr. Potato Head, huh?
There you go. Yeah. Mr. Potato. Hey, the wind chime. If you're watching, your new nickname's Potato Head. So yeah, he's got like chipmunk cheeks, man. So I don't know. He might be able to take it. I don't know. Like I hope he does, because honestly, Bell is one of my good friends, man. Potato Head, you're a good friend of mine. But when who knows? I mean, you never know. His adrenaline could put him into Colossus status, the Juggernaut.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at. I'm in I can't be killed mode, you know what I mean? So he might have the same. So but I know I have crazy power. I know that now my technique is nuts. It's crazy. I'm thinking one. So I when I hit him, I hope he goes down. If not, ready for that too.
Right. Why train at Strong Style?
Well, Strong Style is the house of truth. There's nothing but champions who train under here. You got the baddest man of all time, Stipe. You got some world-class athletes. You got Chase. He's a guy coming up, champion level fighter. Great kid. You had Alexa Kamer who came from there. Shout out to him. You got just great people, trainers, like Mike Cly. He's always trying to push you to be better, and he's a great man himself and good to look up to, and it's just once you walk into that place, man, it's just a different feeling. You put all your worries aside and you see people getting at it. They're hungry to do something better with themselves, and they're just getting at it, and you see that and you just want to get at it. So Strong Style is the place, man. I'll tell you that. It's one of the best gyms in the world. It saved me from the darkness, and I'm forever thankful, and I'm trying to pay it back.
This mirror behind us is also crazy.
Beautiful.
The detail in it is unreal.
There it is right there. Where the weak but willing are welcome and the gifted but lazy are not. That's the strong style creed right there.
Question 4, top fighting or combat movie?
I'd say that's changed over the years because you could say Rocky, absolutely. But I'm more into the action and violence now, so I love The Raid. The Raid is crazy.
I gotta check that. What's that on? I gotta check that one out.
You just got to buy it on like DVD or rent it, man. The Raid 1 is great, but the Raid 2 steps it up another level. Just one of the craziest movies I've ever seen.
I gotta check that one out.
Yes, sir. Please do.
And last question. Someone we should have on the show, but you have to help them get them on.
I would say Mike Cly. Cly or die, baby. He's got some stories to tell you too. He's a wonderful businessman. You know, he's been through a lot, and you know he's got a lot of stories to tell. Or Chase Arcangelo. I would have him on too. You know, another strong style athlete who's right now he's a hungry prospect. He's actually going to have his first pro fight come here soon. Definitely have him on. Mm-hmm. Or Alexa Kamer. He's a UFC athlete. Unfortunately, no longer with UFC, but he's such a beautiful mind, and he's a very dedicated individual. He's got a cool photography, video production company, and his life is phenomenal. Mm-hmm. He's got a good story to tell. Any of those guys.
April 12th, the PowerSlap Heavyweight Championship. What can we expect from the King?
Chaos, violence, and the W.
Let's go. And lastly, before we get off, I have a foundation. It's called Local Legend. Basically where I just, pay it forward, or trying to use my network, use my relationships to connect public figures, athletes, local legends with the community and with the youth and young adults. And so you're one of the local legends from here. But also it's just, I think when people see it and when people say it, it gives them, a sense of just pride for wherever they come from. And just, being the one in whatever industry, whatever
the
field.
King,
so,
baby.
Yeah. So that's dope. And
love it, bro.
Hope to see you wear it, soon. So let's do it. Appreciate you coming on
right
for sure.
now, brother.
Appreciate you coming on. This is Varsity House Podcast. I'm your host, Shaun Crawford. And thank you to our guest, King of Kings, #1 ranked power slapper in the heavyweight division, Ryan Phillips.
Thank you. It was a pleasure, man. It was an honor, and I hope the best for you, and it was great to meet you. I hope we become friends, man.
Let's go.
Let's do it.